Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
It's really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
Episode 90 here of Weather Weekly. Good to be with you. Again, another special one here. We're going to drop this a day earlier because of the tropical activity this time. Yesterday we did a special one regarding the event NASA was putting on with the crashing into the asteroid. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We had a brief interview there. By the way, that did run successfully. Not a ton of info on if it did indeed change the track or anything like that, but it was cool to be able to watch the video. You can check it out online. You could see the video of the moment the satellite did crash into that asteroid. So it was a pretty cool event there. I suggest checking that out. But we will keep you updated on how the success of that one. Hopefully when we get some info over the coming days and weeks. But today we're focusing on Hurricane Ian. I'm recording this about 9 a.m. Tuesday, the 27th, and already made landfall in Cuba as a Category 3 storm. So we're going to talk about the impacts as it looks like it will be taking aim on Florida and could create some big problems there in central Florida with both some strong winds. Looks like it could be a very strong hurricane when it does make landfall here in a couple of days, and some other impacts as it may slow down as it rolls over the state. So flooding could be a big risk as well. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest Romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
It is episode 90 of Weather Weekly here. Another special one for you here. This one is for Hurricane Ian, which is looks to be a pretty significant hurricane that's going to be taking aim on the Gulf Coast of Florida here over the next couple of days. So new advisory was issued at 5 a.m. It did upgrade it to a Category 3 storm, 125 mile per hour winds. As of the latest update, let me check the all of the significant changes. 125 miles per hour, movement north at 12 miles per hour. Again, this is at 5 a.m. Eastern time. It did make official landfall in the western portions of Cuba at around 4:30, just after 4:30 this morning. So some of the key messages from the National Hurricane Center: life-threatening storm surge, hurricane force winds, flash floods, and possible mudslides are expected in portions of western Cuba today. Devastating wind damage is expected where the core of Ian moves across western Cuba for the morning hours. There is a danger of life-threatening storm surge along much of the Florida west coast, where a storm surge warning has been issued, with the highest risk to Fort Myers to Tampa Bay region. Residents in these areas should listen to advice given by local officials. 3, hurricane force winds are expected in the hurricane warning area in west central Florida beginning Wednesday morning, with tropical storm conditions expected by late today. And again, we're recording this on Tuesday. 4, heavy rainfall will spread across western Cuba through Tuesday. This will likely produce instances of flash flooding and possible mudslides in areas of higher terrain over western Cuba. And 5, heavy rainfall will increase across the Florida Keys and South Florida Tuesday, spreading into central and northern Florida Wednesday and Thursday, and the southeast by Friday and Saturday, likely causing flash urban and small stream flooding. Considerable flooding is expected across central Florida into southern Georgia and coastal South Carolina, with significant prolonged river flooding expected across central to northern Florida. So those are the key messages here in regards to Ian. And again, this was the 5 a.m. Eastern time update on Tuesday, September 27th. There'll be more updates to come throughout the day. In terms of winds, the probability of tropical storm force winds, which is 40 miles per hour or greater, it's about 100% chance for the central portions of western Florida along the Gulf Coast. There is and again, hurricane force wind. That's 74 mile per hour or higher, 1 minute average. For that same area, the western coast of Florida, that would include Tampa, Clearwater area, is in the 40 to 50% range. So that's fairly high as that storm approaches. Now, it does look like it will weaken as we start going to the latter portions of Wednesday and Thursday. In terms of the winds starting to pick up in the Keys, it will be later on this afternoon near the Fort Myers area, probably around 8 p.m. Tuesday evening. And then these are tropical storm force winds. So again, 34 mile per hour or greater. Probably looking at 8 p.m. 2 a.m. Around Clearwater, and then 8 a.m. Wednesday for those tropical storm force winds just north of Tampa. In terms of storm surge, it hasn't looked awful. There are storm surge warnings, including Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Sarasota, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Bonita Springs, Naples. It stretches all the way to the very southern tip of Florida. And then it's storm surge watches out for the Keys and then north of Clearwater. So that's Spring Hill, and then basically stretching almost to Tallahassee where there's storm surge watches there. From what I've seen, there could be peak surging of anywhere between 5 to 10 feet in Tampa, and that would stretch down to Bonita Beach. Storm surges at Key West at 2 to 4 inches. So not awful in terms of storm surge. We'll have to watch that 5 to 10. What I am probably more concerned with, I do think that this could make landfall as a major hurricane. And last I saw, this could be the first major hurricane that's made landfall at Tampa in over 60 years. So it's been a long time since you've had it. And again, major is Cat 3 or higher. So this thing is expected to reach Category 4 status and then kind of drop back down possibly to 3 as it gets closer to landfall around the Tampa area, which Tampa's right in the middle of the cone of uncertainty. So that's all going to happen probably during the day, either late Wednesday or early Thursday, kind of in that window there. The other problem, and I think probably the bigger problem is going to be, at least from what I can gather, I mean, this will be a strong punch of wind and some decent storm surge, I believe, on the Gulf Coast side there. So definitely a storm surge flooding problem is going to be an issue. But I don't think we should overlook the flash flooding potential. And I mentioned in the key takeaways, because a lot of the projections that we have been seeing with Ian as it makes landfall on the west side of Florida is that it ends up slowing down as it tries to work inland. And so what that will create is just heavy amounts of rain with very little break. So you add the storm surge and then the potential for some flooding range, which some of the projections are going as high as 15 to maybe high as 20 inches of rainfall around the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete area. That's going to be bad news. But that could stretch through central and even northeastern Florida as this tracks across the state, maybe even as far north as Jacksonville, anywhere between 10 to 15 inches of rain. Orlando could see around 6 to 10 inches of rainfall. So pretty significant flooding threat even inland here. But obviously the big concern is going to be around Tampa, where you could see 15 plus inches of rain. Even just off the coast where storm surge won't be as much of an issue, there could be a lot of places underwater in the Tampa area. So it's something definitely worth watching for the day. There's also a marginal risk for tornadoes. We typically see that during any kind of tropical event. So that will be an issue, I believe, as we kind of go through the day on, Thursday mostly. Again, the biggest flooding concerns right now in terms of storm surge, I'm looking at some of the high resolution stuff. Punta Gorda, Charlotte Harbor or Port Charlotte, Cleveland. Once you get inside of the Charlotte Harbor, I know a lot of you are probably very familiar with that. That's where you're talking maybe storm surge greater than 9 feet above ground. Seeing maybe some hot spots around Fort Myers Beach, where you could see some areas along the beach there of over 9 feet. A lot of the other areas are probably looking 6 feet above ground there. Boca Grande. I'm just kind of scrolling up and down here. Venice Beach. Sarasota, probably in that 6 foot range, maybe. Bradenton, about the same. So there's a lot of areas that's going to be real rough going. Treasure Island, Madeira Beach, all along there, probably about 6 feet right out of the gate. And it does look like we could see some problems kind of in Tampa Bay per se. There could be some isolated spots that go 9 feet or higher. I think some of the bridges are going to be very difficult to pass from, some of you are familiar with that, from Tampa to Clearwater area, trying to get there or trying to get to St. Pete. Very popular vacation destinations that may be dealing with some pretty significant storm surge, but it looks like the worst of it's going to be kind of in that Punta Gorda area as of right now from what I'm seeing. So we will continue to update you, looking to do another podcast probably tomorrow, Wednesday, as this storm is going to be over open water, and we'll have a little bit more of an understanding on how it is behaving over the warm Gulf water and approaching Florida. So we'll keep you updated on that. I'm going to have a look at your local forecast here for the last week of September. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. All right, again, here's a look at your forecast. Not much changes for this last week of September, but if you didn't get a chance to listen to yesterday's podcast, do want to keep things consistent here. Very quiet week ahead with a gradual warm-up late week, we believe. Mid-60s for highs. Overnight lows still kind of hanging in the 40s. I think that's going to last at least until Friday morning. Looks like by Friday we should get up to around 70, and I think mid-70s are within reach this weekend and early next week. There's no significant cool downs after that. So early October highs usually are into the lower 70s. So we should be in pretty good shape there. There is a minor chance for rain on Sunday. I left it out of my extended forecast here this morning on the TV side, but we'll have to watch. There are some hints that we could get some maybe bands spun up from the remnants of Ian by the weekend. If that were to occur, probably better chances in southern Indiana, but I'm not sold on that just yet. Not all models are on board, and obviously that's still several days away, but something worth mentioning that we could have a few showers from that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it's a very, very quiet forecast. May do another one or two of these podcasts as we get closer to the actual event of landfall of Ian. Again, that happens either late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning. So we'll keep you updated on that. And look, if you're really interested in a lot of this stuff, I highly recommend you checking out some of the live streams that are going to be taking place. You can go to individual websites for TV stations. They do usually a very good job of streaming those events online, and hurricane coverage is a lot different than, say, any other weather coverage because they will go for 2 days straight without breaks or going to any other additional programming. So it's if you're a weather lover or even a local news lover for that matter, really cool to watch that. I don't know if DirecTV still does it or not, but they used to have a dedicated hurricane channel that would bounce around to some of the local affiliates and just kind of a round robin thing. And there's also an app if you have Roku or maybe I think Apple TV, Amazon Fire Sticks have it. It's called News On, 2 separate words. Not every TV station in the country is on there, but a lot of them will stream live on there, and they'll have like a breaking news section, and that will probably be filled with all of the at least Gulf Coast stations along Florida's Gulf Coast that I'm sure will be going wall to wall here over the next couple of days. So make sure to check that out. While you're here, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a wonderful week and take care. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.